Hi, this is David Snail. And for the ones who do not know me, I've been in business since 1987. And the name of my company is executiverestoration.com. And we're going to be talking about, I've got Finley Surgeon on the phone with BioPro Restoration as well. And Finley, what are we going to be talking about here this morning?
Crawl space encapsulation.
Okay, so crawl space encapsulation. Now, Finley, do you want to talk to us a little bit about what a crawl space encapsulation is?
Well, as far as a full, complete crawl space encapsulation is it's actually a reinforced plastic. You can get it from anywhere from a 6 mil reinforced plastic to a 20 mil, and a full crawl space encapsulation. What we do is it actually put a 1 inch. It's a styrofoam board. It goes around the inside of the crawl space where the foundation is, where the block walls, and we cut that to fit, and we tape the seams, and then we make sure it's all clean. And at this point, the mold has been taken care of. It's been dried out, and so at this point, we're just putting the encapsulation part in.
Now, what's the difference between a vapor barrier and encapsulating a crawl space? So if you say to a client, okay, you have three choices here. You can either have nothing in your crawl space, just bare soil. That's option one. Option two is to have a vapor barrier, and option three is to have a full encapsulation. And a full encapsulation is the floor of the crawl space and the walls of the crawl space um, own up a certain amount of the crawl space, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you got three options here. So basically, what's the big difference between a vapor barrier? What is a vapor barrier?
Vapor barrier keeps the moisture. Um,
Keeps the vapor. Does it keep the vapor down?
yes.
Okay. And then is the vapor barrier just basically a piece of plastic on the floor of the crawl space, Finley?
Yes.
Okay. So so basically when we talk about an encapsulation, we're actually encapsulating the walls and the floor of the crawl space, and it looks real clean and tidy with the full encapsulation. Now, versus no vapor barrier and no encapsulation and just having nothing in there, that's definitely more economical, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but you folks, in my experience, since I've been in business since 1987, I would encourage you to have at least something in your crawl space, something to keep the vapors from coming up into your crawl space from the ground, because we typically have dirt in there, don't we, Finley?
Yes, and it will off gas too. It
Okay,
helps keep the off gassing down, which is the smell
right,
of the dirt and
right,
grow.
okay. So we have a couple of options there. So no plastic in the crawl space floor, plastic vapor barrier in the crawl space floor, or we got a total encapsulation, which is basically vinyl, thick vinyl plastic, that's going to go on the floor of your crawl space and up the walls. Now, an encapsulation, a full encapsulation, is a lot more expensive, isn't it, Finley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and and I want people to understand that your crawl space can affect your indoor living environment, because we have all kinds of holes in our crawl spaces and cracks. So what is in our crawl space can affect our indoor living environment. Can it not, Finley?
Yes, it can.
And would you like to explain how and why that may be possible?
Sure. Well, there's sometimes where people have their ductwork ran in their crawl space, and of course the ductwork, the seams could be not taped, and like what you were saying, brother Dave, you could have holes from where they have ran water lines
Mm-hmm.
and different things like that there that they did when they was building the home, and the off gassing or the swirl can actually go up in the smell can actually go up into the house.
Right, right. So that's very good, and that is some very helpful advice that people really need to know and understand. And then the next thing I want to talk about is called a shield. It's called a liquid shield. Now, a lot of people aren't very familiar with this, and it can be used as, the joist and the beams in the crawl space, Finley.
Yeah. Hmm.
So typically, when we're doing a crawl space um, dry out with fans and dehumidifiers, we got to get the crawl space dried out first. If we've got moisture level readings that are um, over the normal range, and then, but once we get the insulation out that are in between, is it the joist, Finley?
Yes. Floor joist. Yep.
Okay, so the floor joist. So once we get that out, and once we get everything dried out, and once we, excuse me, either go with a vapor barrier or an encapsulation of the floor and the walls of the crawl space, then we can also spray a shield on the exposed wood and the beams, and it's called a shield. Now, what this shield does, it is like a protection, a protective skin that is sprayed on. Some people spray it on. I've seen other people roll it on. I've seen other people brush it on. Now, the easiest way to put this shield on, it's like a membrane, it's like a skin, is to spray it on. And Finley, when we wash our car and we put a nice good coat of wax on it, you know what that does, of course. It protects our car's finish, right?
Yes.
So that things can't start growing on our car. And if we don't protect um, the paint job on our car, believe it or not, I have seen so many cars, people have all kinds of growth on there. I mean, I had growth in my gas cap. Stuff was growing inside my gas cap. I don't remember if you saw those pictures. Did you see those pictures?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's pretty nasty. So, people ask me all the time, well, Dave, is there anything else I could do with my crawl space? And I'm like, one of your other options is for us to spray a shield membrane skin on the exposed wood that's in there. So it's just another option. There are many, many options in life. So, and people ask me all the time, they're like, Dave, can my crawl space, can this really affect our living quarters? And I said, think about this. Think about all the holes in your crawl space where the plumbing is. Think about your vents, all the cracks. And so all that is cumulative. That means it builds up. So yes, it can have a very big impact for your living environment. Is there any other thing that we'd like to add to this, Finley?
No, that's pretty good, brother Dave.
Okay. This is David Snell with ExecutiveRestoration.com, Got Mold, We Have the Cure.com, and Finley Surgeoner with BioPro Restoration. Encapsulation.com. Thank you so much, Finley.
Yes, thank you, Brother Dave.